Okay, Timmy, the floor is yours.
Okay, good evening, good afternoon from, I think you're in the evening where you are, Manasi.
Yes, it's almost 9
So,
p.m. here in India. And so anyone who is joining us from across globe, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, as it's applicable. Wonderful to be here in this
yeah,
session with both of you. Thank you.
yeah, thank you for accepting our invitation. So, I'm just going to give you a few minutes to introduce yourself to the audience that is watching us at the moment so that they can have a
Sure.
brief background of who you are, and then from there they can relate
Certainly.
with you better.
Thank you. Absolutely. Thanks so much for that. And it's the second time around that I'm actually joining the conversation with distinct leadership. First one was in the year 2024. And here I am, second time joining you live with another topic to discuss with you all and the audience who's listening to us live and maybe will listen to the recording later. I'm Manasi Kelkar. I'm based in Bangalore, India. I am a mind care and emotional intelligence coach, and I work with individuals as well as teams at different point in time of life. Maybe those who are in their early teenage, young age, professionals who are in their maybe midlife crisis, who are thinking of shifting careers, and even those who want to work on themselves. So those who are ready to work on themselves, I work with them, and I use a lot of different positive psychology, Japanese well-being, and a little bit of philosophical and spiritual techniques to work with my clients.
Wow,
So that's a bit about me. Yeah, thank you.
wow. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that interesting introduction. And for the people that are just joining our meeting, I think we had Manasi 2 years ago, and she delivered a very insightful section, but the time didn't do justice to our section. That is why we are having her for the second time. And I think
Thank
I
you.
can promise we had a section with her before now, and I think I can promise that the section is going to be quite impactful. So I would want you guys to um, be attentive, have a pen. We're going to be asking our real life questions that you can grasp one or two things from, and it helps you to navigate your life, your career. You get some ideas from a psychological standpoint, and she's a life coach, and I believe that the section with her will be most impactful. Yeah, thank you again. We have Mr. Miracle Yemo, which is the leader of Distant Leadership, but I think is currently not in an environment that can make us see him. That is why his camera is off. So let's jump into it right away. So I have question here that I'll be asking Manasi. But before that, I think Manasi had introduction of what he wants to say. He wants to say something to us, and then
Absolutely.
we can start from there. Yeah, we
True.
can start from there.
So,
Thank you.
as I began my session, which I did with you guys 2 years ago, again, I will start the session with focusing on our breathing because that's extremely important to make the most of next 1 hour, ground ourselves, and somewhere it helps us to center ourselves to make the most from the session and as well calm us down. So, I invite all your viewers who are watching us live and those who are going to look for the recording later to just sit straight in the chair or the couch that they are in, feet on the ground. Gently close your eyes if you're comfortable and focus on your inhales and exhales. Let the breathing be deeper than the usual shallow breathing that we do most of the times. So take deep inhale and long deep exhale about 7 to 8 times. And now I formally invite you all to get back in the session and let's make the most of it. So how is it feeling now after doing the pause? If you could tell me.
Personally, for me, I think the the exercise, I feel very, very relaxed after it. I think I have when we started the section, I think I have a bit of anxiety. I didn't know I did have it, but when we have the exercise, I feel like I'm more relaxed and more calm after the section. That's
Wonderful.
interesting.
Although we have very limited vocabulary when it comes to expressing how we are feeling because we are never being taught about it in our school or colleges. But then I'm sure relaxed is the word which makes you feel that way
Mm.
after the pause, and which is wonderful. So now I have a question to all the viewers. Okay. Tell me one thing. If I ask you to rate your life that you are living right now on the scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the most amazing life, 1 being perhaps still not at it and I'm somehow living. So, would you be able to just jot it down for yourself? How do you rate your life right now on the scale of 1 to 5? And it's not to be shared with anyone, so you can be extremely open. Just jot it down for yourself. Okay? Maybe for some, I already knew where my life is. For some, it might feel like, oh, now suddenly I need to rate my life. Well, it's not that bad. It's not so good. It's somewhere midway. Okay. But then now I have the second question for you. Can you jot down for yourself about 3 things that you have in your life right now, but which was something that you wanted to have about 3 to 5 years ago and you were working on it? Can you think of 3 things like that? Timmy, would you be comfortable sharing 1 or 2 out of it that you already have, which you were thinking about having about 3 to 5 years ago? Something that you have already achieved?
That I want that I've been aspiring to have 5 years ago. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, something that you wanted to have about 5 years ago and you have now achieved it. Anything, miracle, if you
Um,
can think of 1 or 2.
okay,
Should I
so
speak to
I
me?
would okay. Over to you, Miracle. Over to you.
Okay, so for me, what
Yeah.
I've always wanted. I mean, 5 years ago, I was going to school, and I told myself I wanted to like get to know people that in my field of leadership. And today, I sort of like I think I know a lot of people that are in my field of leadership. For example, is Manasi now. So yeah, that's it.
Okay, okay. And now, how does that make you feel that you have something which you dreamt of or which you were working on 5 years ago? How does that make you feel?
I think it's the feeling. It's difficult to explain the feeling, but it's joyous. Let me just say it's really nice having to feel that way.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, even today, you might have certain things on your list which you are working towards, and something that you might be able to achieve about 1, 2, 3, or 5 years down the line. But you are working on it. So, we'll always have some of these things going because they say that when there are no mountains to climb to prove your worth, then you are left with a void. And as a human being, though we are human beings, we want to keep doing something so that we are able to get on one point and then go to the next one and then keep targeting the next one. So that's how we are being conditioned. But do we understand one thing? That somewhere we are hardwired into the negativity bias, that looking at what am I lacking today? What is it that I want? What is it that I haven't achieved as yet? Or maybe on other hand, I might feel like if I get that, then I think I'll be happy. And we'll always constantly be in that loop, right? Am I making sense? So there is always
Yeah.
that thinking somewhere, and which doesn't allow us to sit quiet, which is good because a human being couldn't sit quietly. There are tons of innovations which have happened over the past thousands of years because we couldn't sit without doing something. But at the same time, we need to understand that the world began from a void. The world began from the space of nothingness. Even when we exhale,
Mm.
and the point we next time inhale, that small little space is what in yoga they give a lot of importance to, that brings in that stillness in life. but we never think about it because we are so hardwired into thinking of what am I lacking, what is the next thing that I want, right? And it comes very naturally. That's how we have been evolved as human species. But we need to understand, and I'm referring back to the session that I did with Miracle 2 years ago. We had discussed about living in the moment, and we had discussed about something called as we are not compulsive. We can consciously make choices. If you remember Miracle, maybe you can share with your viewers the link to that recording so that they'll be able to connect with what I'm saying right now. Correct? But at the same time, what happens is when we have everything and yet we feel that I'm feeling lost, I don't know what's happening with me. Somewhere we are not able to understand that on one hand we are saying that I have everything, so there is no lack. In fact, I should be much more grateful with the abundance that's been showered on me, and that should actually make us feel joyful, as Miracle spoke about, or as Timmy was talking about how he felt relaxed after the initial exercise. So ideally we all should feel very content and happy if we have everything, but why do we still feel lost is the question, and it is the central theme or the topic of today's podcast. Somewhere, have we ever noticed that when we were born we were something different, and then
Yeah.
now we are a different version of ourselves. We keep evolving over time. Correct? So, something that we take on maybe from our peers, from our caregivers, from teachers, from our job experience, the education that we take. So, we keep evolving and changing ourselves. But somewhere, what we don't realize is somewhere we get caught up into, is that one happy with what I'm doing? Am I following what the other people are doing? Am I being able to make everyone happy? Okay. Is my success getting noticed? Am I getting the validation and appreciation from everyone? Are you understanding how we get caught up into the space of, oh, you know what? I'm looking for something. So, in spite of having everything that I would have once dreamt of or maybe wanting to have, I'm still feeling somewhere lost in the process because I am losing connection with my own self. Is that making sense to all of you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Any thoughts that we want to share at this point in time? Because I've made a very, very crucial point at this in this podcast at the moment. So anything that you want to ask or share? I think Miracle, you're
To me.
muted. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I was going to ask Timmy if Timmy had something to say. I feel like Timmy, do you have anything to say?
Not really. Not really. Not yet. Not yet.
Okay. So
I
okay,
just
just
I
allow
have a
me to
question to. Okay. Okay.
Okay. Sure. You said you have a question.
Yeah. I mean, it was about when you said why we were growing up, and there is a thing we want to achieve, something we want to get while growing up, or why we, why we were grown, we find out that, some of those things are not what we actually want. So my question is, could it be because we think those things cannot be achievable, or because our mind has been infiltrated or exposed to newer realities?
Hmm. So as we are growing up, as I was mentioning that we are trying to achieve the certain things, we are also looking for those validations and appreciation from our loved ones, or we are trying to see are we following the path what our parents followed or what our ideal, whatever, we might have some idol in life or we want to achieve something. But somewhere in the process, we don't realize is we are losing the connect with ourselves, is what I was saying. So somewhere we are trying to kind of see that if I can do something which the others want me to do, okay, because they have some expectations from me. But at the same time,
Yeah.
do we ask ourselves that what is it that I actually want to do? What is it that really matters to me? Okay. The question that no one asked us even during the school or college education is, what are the values that are core to me? Who am I exactly? It's okay to be the role of a son, a father, a husband, a wife, a friend, philosopher, teacher, or maybe the boss in a team, etc., etc. But then those are all the roles that we are playing. Does that truly mean that actually defines who I am? But we never really sit down and ask that question because we are so caught up in the space of I want to do this, I want to do that, I have something to achieve, I have that to do list to do, etc. I want to achieve so and so things because my parents wanted me to do something or they had certain expectations from me. But then we don't really sit back and ask that question to ourselves. And that's why initially, when I said that we have a very limited vocabulary when it comes to how am I really feeling, because we never ask that question to ourselves. Many times, the societal pressure, in fact, doesn't allow us to express our emotions. Correct? So that's where we keep achieving things. To the outer world, we feel that we are successful, we are running a good business, we are in a good position in a particular professional career, or maybe my family is happy, I'm providing the needs what they require from me. But somewhere we forget to ask ourselves, how am I feeling? Am I appreciating myself enough?
Hmm.
Correct? So that's where we get caught up.
Right.
And that's why today, somewhere, I'm going to kind of slowly take you to the space of going the deeper dive so that we feel it from inside. Having all the things outside world is one thing, but feeling deeper inside that contentment, something that intrinsically will motivate me. Any thoughts?
Wow. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
interesting.
for
I
me,
mean,
I
you
Sorry. Yeah.
oh no, Timmy, you speak. Timmy, you speak. Timmy, you speak.
no, no, no. Yeah, you go ahead. You go ahead. Go ahead.
I mean, I really appreciate the fact that this is quite very honest, and I think it's a lot of things that we often struggle with, but do not realize that it's something that sometimes we struggle with, and then you having to make reference to that really makes it makes a whole lot of sense. So just want to say thank you to that.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. Timmy, you also have some questions? Sorry. Yes.
Yes, I wanted to say that's in a new, like, a new perception you've brought to the idea. The reason why I asked the question earlier is because I say that humans have priorities and things they set as goals per time and per season. So at the point in our life while I was growing up, I said, "Oh, I want to be a pilot." At one point, I said, "Oh, I
Hmm.
want to be a aeronautic engineer." You know, my dad would say, "Oh," would tell my brother that, "Oh, you have to be a lawyer, you have to be a doctor, you have to be this." You know, and a typical African parent does not really like the fact that a child wants to do something they don't find to be to be the best, so they will say, "Oh, if you have to do this or you do this." So I see that there are subliminary things that have been infused to our mind to want to get validation from them because that is the thing they want. That's the thing our mom wants, our dads want, our parents want,
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
we have emotional attachments to them. So we want to fulfill their wants, not what we really want ourselves. But I think as we grow up, we kind of see life in a new lens. We see that the life is more than what your parents want you to do. It is what you really think
True.
is your passion and your goal personally. So that was the reason why I asked the initial question. Thank you for bringing a better perspective to it, and thank you so much. So
Thank
would
you.
you like me to jump into the list of the questions that
We
I
can
have?
certainly do
Is that
that.
okay?
Just one point I wanted to add here, because you say that my parents wanted me to do this and someone wanted me to be that and all that, and which is good. Maybe they identify what skills you have, or maybe those are their dreams for you, and which we totally respect, because one of the very core values for each one of us is love and care for our family, and we want to see them happy. But we just need to understand that it's not always about just fulfilling their dreams, but it's also about how deep down we feel about it. because we don't want to land in a situation of burnout, just trying to kind of please everyone and make everyone happy. But that clarity has to come, that what we want to be. So that's a very core question that we need to really ask ourselves in the process.
Hmm. Hmm. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Thank you. So I believe somebody somewhere online or somebody that will be rebroadcasting this section would also find light out of what you said just now. So the first
Yeah.
question I have here with me is everyone around me, my family, partner, friends, has a section of who I should be. How do I stay true to myself without feeling like I am letting them down? So I think the opening of the question is still backtracking to what we just concluded now. That
Yes.
how
Yes.
do I stay true to myself without making them? So there is a situation that was aforementioned that your parents have an expectation of you. Your English teacher think you should study English because you are one of his favorite students in class. She has an expectation of you. Your math teacher think you should be a mathematician because you are one of his best students in class. Your parents want you to be a doctor so they can say, "Oh, I have a son that is a doctor." So he's saying that how do I stay true to myself? That's the first question we have now. How do I stay true to myself and at the same time not neglecting what those people that are looking up to me, not letting them down.
True, true. So I think partially we have discussed this so far in the session as well. But somewhere what we also need to understand is time to time there are certain exercises of self-awareness, understanding our own selves or connecting with our own emotions that one can go through to understand fully that what is it that I want to do. Okay, and then of course keeping the values of respecting elders in the family and all in mind, we cannot simply expect them to understand us unless we understand ourselves, which is very important.
Right,
And I think we miss out on that
right.
and expect that they will understand what I want to do and they should know that I'm not interested in this. But for all that we
Hmm.
need to first understand that what is it that I want to do. If I'm clear with that and if I'm able to express my emotions, then perhaps I will be able to find a way to have that interpersonal communication in a way that I am here, I'm aware about my own strengths, weaknesses, and what's the blind spot for me in my personality, and this is what I want to do. So somewhere that communication is very important, and I do understand that sometimes even parents come with a closed mindset and they will not somewhere easily accept. But that's where the
Yeah,
key role of um, a counseling session or a parenting session comes in. So this space is
counseling.
not
Right. Yeah.
sufficient for me to discuss more on that, but I would be happy to help if anyone wants to connect on those lines with me.
Right, right. That's interesting. So you're saying that for you to answer this question is for that individual to find who they are. They should recognize their
Yes,
identity, what they themselves want from themselves, not what the family or their association or the relationship they have around their life suggests that it should be. And then from there, the parents should also seek counseling. They should have this counseling section with their parents so that they can understand why the
absolutely.
person or yeah are choosing the path. Well, that's really interesting. Thank you for the insightful answer. So the second question, I have a stable job that pays the bill, but I wake up every day feeling empty. Is
Hmm.
it selfish or irresponsible to leave that for something I actually love, especially when people depend on me financially?
Hmm. Hmm. We are part of a society. We are part of a system where we care for the family. In this case, the question that you're asking, somewhere that person is also responsible to uh, fulfill the needs of the family members. The members are financially dependent on him or her. In this case, it becomes all the more difficult to suddenly leave things and jump into something that I love, because we can't ignore the responsibilities and the duties. As I said, that we need to understand who I really am, but at the same time, we cannot forget that we wear many hats and we play many roles in our lives, and we can't completely just ignore them and do the way we want. Correct? We are responsible somewhere, and
mm,
first of all, we will not even be able to leave everything, because somewhere that guilt will take over, that I am not doing enough, that I'm supposed to be doing. So there has to be somewhere, again, interpersonal communication becomes very crucial, to make the other people understand that somewhere I also want to do something. But there has to be a
mm,
connection before correction, which is very important. We need to
right.
connect with our people, and which is very crucial. At the same time,
Mm,
once we, in the first question, as I answered, once we are taking the step or doing certain exercises, which I can talk about, but it will become like a session in itself, as to how do we understand our
mm,
own selves and what is it that I really like. Somewhere, one doesn't have to completely leave what he or she is doing and jump directly into something. They can start it
mm,
as something on a side, see how they are able
mm,
to progress in that, and then
mm,
continue doing the job as well. But at the same time, we need to understand one more thing here, which I want to bring in is, I need to have the clarity that this is what I like, and hence I'm choosing to spend time on that particular thing. And when you time it that way, then you will not feel the guilt that I'm spending my weekend on doing something that I really like apart from my job. But you will actually enjoy. You will be able to, in the space of what they call it as flow state, because that's something that you really like. And by spending time on what you really like over a weekend or maybe a couple of days in a month, you will actually rejuvenate yourself and be able to do the other duties which are expected out of you with more zest and energy.
mm,
So there has to be that balance,
mm,
what we call it as work-life balance, or what we can call it as giving
right,
time to some things that I
right,
like and being able to manage
right,
between that and my life.
right. That thank you for the answer. But I have a question in regards to that same question. I have a
Hmm.
question. So, what I get from what you said is time management. Knowing
Yes.
how to manage your time for what pays the bill as of now, and then the other time that you have free or less, you commit it to what is your passion. Well, I'm saying, do you think shared focus or sharing of like not a full devotion to one's passion would eventually make someone to earn out of the passion? I don't know if you get the question.
Um, no, I did get your question, and that's an interesting
Oh,
perspective. Again, it is in the same negativity bias that I spoke about some time ago. We are so hardwired to look
okay.
for what am I lacking, that we do not actually express our gratitude enough for the things that we have. Correct? We have
Hmm.
everything and yet feeling lost. That feeling comes from somewhere not being able to be grateful for what we have. If I'm
Hmm.
getting, say, 4 to 5 hours a week to do certain thing which I really enjoy, maybe playing a musical instrument, singing, trekking, writing a book, or whatever it is, can I find a feeling of gratitude in that than saying that, oh, I'm only getting this much time and then I have my work? Or on the other hand, that because I'm not getting enough time, I'm losing interest in this. It's actually a story that we are
Hmm.
telling ourselves, and there is
Oh,
always
wow.
something that I can suggest is just the way we did the pause in the beginning, to just focus on our breathing. There are multiple types of pauses that I can suggest. Say, for example, taking a pause to sit back in stillness and silence for a minute or two, to understand what am I feeling right now, what is my mind chattering about? Is it just telling me the
Hmm.
negative things which I don't want to focus on? Can I shift my focus? So, even that can be done with the help of a pause. Or maybe when I'm
mm,
getting too caught up into the negative chatter of my mind that I'm not getting enough time to do this and that and all that, can I do some somatic movements? Can I go for a walk?
mm,
Or if nothing else, can I just do an emotional, I mean, a sigh, inhaling from the nose and exhaling through the mouth? Even that will make me come back in the moment and realize that it's not all that bad. In fact, I think it's just the chatter in my head which is making me think that
right.
things are really negative. So we can shift our focus back. And at the same time, if we have that clarity that why am I choosing to do this? Because this following my passion for a couple of hours today is gonna actually keep
Mm,
the interest on and keep me going with doing my work as well as this. So finding that balance and
mm,
time management that you were talking about, all these passion and the liking and all are all the quadrant 2 items. If you know the time
mm,
management window, the quadrant 2 items are something which are important but not very urgent. But today, if we are able to take out some time to do that, maybe that feeling of lost will not happen because we would have found a deeper meaning and purpose in the way that we are living the life, and which might
mm.
or might not be the current work that we are doing. Okay, but yet we will find that time for the quadrant 2 items this way. I hope I could answer the question that you had.
Yeah, yeah, you answered it so appealing. Wow, wow. Negative bias. That's a new term that I'm going to make a lot of findings about. So negative bias is the part of the brain, is a bias of the brain that makes you to find excuse. Wow, 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 wow. So our brain is creating an excuse that are not really there just to make sure we don't get things done. Wow,
Yeah, yeah.
interesting. Thank you. Let's if I want to be going in depth, we won't leave this place today. So let me move to the third question. So how do I find my ikigai? I don't know if that's the pronunciation.
Yeah, it's called
My
ikigai. It's a Japanese concept.
i-
Yes.
okay, ikigai. My reason for
Mm-hmm.
being when I'm still trying to survive. Purpose feels like something for people who already have their basic needs sorted. So I was speaking with someone sometimes ago, and I said the kind of problem we human attempt to solve is going to be as a result of the exposure we have and the quality of knowledge we have at our disposal. So if I don't see myself solving socio-economical problem, there will never be a part of my brain that will think of how to solve it. So I have to first see myself solving a socio-economical problem before my brain can now, start to fathom all the possibilities that would help me to solve it. So, and I noticed that lately civilization, I was having this conversation with my friend yesterday, that lately civilization has been in the west. So I see that one of the reasons why civilization as of now has been at the cutting edge of the westerners is because most basic amenities, basic needs of human has been solved for them.
Hmm,
So
hmm,
they
hmm,
have the brain to think about what is next. So an average African, sorry that I'm taking this to explain this question. An average African is thinking of how to get a food, how to get a house, how to get mobilization. But in the West, you see
hmm,
that all of those things are just like basic needs. They are like you don't have to do a lot to afford food. You don't have to do a lot to get mobility easily. There is a mortgage
hmm,
system that makes for you to have an apartment over you. So what they think about or the problem they want to solve will be different from me that I just wake up. What I'm thinking about is electricity. What I'm thinking about is how to get a food. What I'm thinking about to get mobility. What I'm thinking about is just to get the basic needs. So the question
hmm,
is now that
hmm.
how do I know my reason for being in a current state whereby I am surviving? Purpose feel like something for people who already have their basic needs, like the Westerners that I use for example, sorted.
Hmm, hmm, hmm. Yes, I totally understand. Across the globe, there are different countries, different continents, and the basic issues that people might be dealing with might be completely different. But since the question also spoke about ikigai, ikigai is a concept where it's something that you like doing, okay? That something that you're good at, something that the world really needs, and something that has a capacity to pay you. Those are the four things which come under ikigai. But let me tell you one thing here, Timmy, that it's not
Mm,
always that we need to think about the larger than life kind of a purpose, that am I fulfilling that, the reason for me being. It's actually, it's not finding the meaning and purpose, it's actually creating one. Okay.
mm,
So maybe a mother who's feeding the children, taking care of the household, and doing some odd jobs to feed the family is also somewhere fulfilling these needs of a ikigai. I'll tell you how.
mm,
She's doing something which she is good at. Maybe it might be a small job, but she's doing something which is good, which she's good at. Okay. Whether she likes it or not can be a question, but let's assume that she even likes doing the job that she is doing. Okay. That job is feeding her. That means it's giving her money. And does the world need
mm.
it? Maybe she is a very small part of the entire system because she is doing a small job. But somewhere, because of that job and that earning, if her kids are able to study well and carve their future, definitely the world needs that. So do you understand? On a broader
Yeah.
term, I work on ikigai for people who are in the midlife crisis, trying to shift career, trying to find the meaning in their life. But on other hand,
Mm,
purpose and meaning is something that we create. So even that mother, I'm just giving a very very subtle example, but even she is somewhere doing everything that's required. Okay, so she's taking care of, maybe on other hand, if I think she's just doing it for survival, but she's actually having that back of her mind that if I get good money from the job that I'm doing, I'm able to actually make sure that my kids study and do better than what I'm doing right now because of the
right.
exposure, the education that they have. So that's
Yeah.
where, and then of course we can go and talk about it at length in a complete session as to how do I find the ikigai of my life and how do I find something which is able to have the meaning for me in my life, etc., etc. But I just thought of answering your question in a different way because you actually said the question in a very different context. So I hope I was able
Mm,
to answer that.
yeah. Yeah. You were. You were able to answer it. You were able to answer it. So
Thank you.
I think it was the extension of the ikigai. So do you mind telling us maybe the first step of finding ikigai, or you just like us to have another section that deals with that entirely?
So, in fact, I can just briefly, as I spoke about it, those are the four things which are important when you are trying to find your ikigai, which I already mentioned as answering the earlier question. But in addition to that, I can only say one thing, that it's not always that the all four things will get completed or satisfied when we are trying to
Right.
find our ikigai. Maybe it's just the three out of the four, but I'm enjoying what I'm doing. And so it be. It's okay. It has the capacity to earn me tomorrow, but right now I'm doing a complete pro bono work in that particular sector of the society. And I'm happy about it. So it's
Mm,
okay. It still can be my ikigai. So in fact, ikigai
mm,
also will keep changing. So people often ask me that once I find my ikigai, will it remain the same? For some, it will remain the same through their life. For some people, it might even change as the circumstances and as the life moves on or as they evolve. Because
wow.
as you know, that we are the most evolved species on the planet, but yet we keep evolving with the experiences, with the
Mm,
choices that we make in life. So even the ikigai
mm,
can change.
mm.
But then if you want
Wow.
me to go deeper into this, it's again a session in itself, and I'll keep it for some other time. And maybe people can reach
Right.
out if they want to work on their ikigai.
Right, right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Wow, that's is interesting to find out that your ikigai can change as we grow older. And wow, that's interesting. So we cannot say there is a particular thing that will perpetually make you to feel fulfilled at every point of your life. We can't really say that because people grow and we evolve as human, like you mentioned earlier. Well, that's a
Absolutely.
very that's a very insightful one. That's a very insightful one. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm very sure a lot of people will be enjoying this section. A lot of people will be enjoying it. Thank you. So
Thank you.
the fourth question, which is the second to the last question that I'll be asking, is I know I need to live in the moment, but I have real anxieties about the future, rent, my career, my family. How is mindfulness actually practical when life is this uncertain?
In fact, I would say that again, they can connect back and watch my session that I did with Miracle 2 years ago, because that will also talk a bit more on some techniques to live in the moment. But yes, I do understand
Hmm,
we really live in the world of complete uncertainty. And sometimes, although
hmm,
the space that we live in or the country we belong to might not be directly involved in a geopolitical situation, but yet we are not isolated because we all are connected through means through the products that keep traveling here and there, through more than what we can think of. So, in fact, we cannot isolate ourselves from what's happening around the world. But at the same time, we also understand that anxiety is in our head, and the only antidote to anxiety is taking action. And that too,
hmm.
one step at a time. Even
Only,
if we might be worrying
only.
about something, sorry, you were saying something?
No, no. I said I'm emphasizing only. You said only.
Yes, yes, yes.
Wow.
And many times, taking a first step is the antidote to anxiety. So, of course,
Hmm,
our mind will keep, as I was mentioning even earlier, it will keep chattering, it will keep saying, what if that happens? What if this happens? And then I'm worried, I'm worried, I'm worried. But we need to understand that worrying is not an energy to be in, because the more we worry,
hmm,
the more we only get into the loop of what if this happens, then will what will
hmm,
happen to me, and will it be so? Whatever anyways has to happen will happen, but we need to understand what's
hmm,
in my control. I need to keep doing that. That's number one. Secondly, actually speaking, we cannot live anywhere else than in this moment, because past is the story that we are telling ourselves and future is something that we are anticipating. But remember
hmm,
one thing, that we cannot change the past, but we can change the narrative of the story. And we cannot perhaps live in the future, but we can definitely take a step today which can help our future. And that can be only taken in this particular moment. So, again, it brings it back to this moment and the choices that we are making. As I mentioned some time ago, that we are still evolving, and with the life experiences, situations, and the choices that we are making today are actually creating our tomorrow. So again, it
hmm,
brings us back to in the moment. And for more things,
hmm.
they can look into the recording of my earlier session,
Right,
which was
right.
focused around living
For
in
the
the moment.
right, right. For those, thank you for that section. Thank you for that answer to the question. For those that are just joining us, I think we had a section with Manasi 2 years ago, and she in that section she talked about the technique for living in the moment, the technique for living in the moment. And also, she said the antidote to anxiety is to take action. So I think most of us are overthinkers. So we emphasize on what if we overanalyze, we overthink about the possibilities of things that can happen. So hence why we keep ourselves in perpetual state of anxiety and then we don't take action. So, and I also believe any action that is not taken is an action taken. So, if you don't take an action, there is something that would complement the action you didn't take. And if you take an action, also, there is a complementing results that comes with every action we take. That's very interesting. Thank you for that.
Absolutely.
The
And
link
one more
for
Sorry.
sentence
the
here I just want to add. Yes,
okay.
Miracle, sorry.
No, no, no. You speak. You speak. When you're done, I'll say it. I'll say one.
Yeah, I just wanted to say one
Okay.
more thing here is people with anxiety and overthinking, I completely understand. It's really difficult to take even that one single step. So I totally get that. And I absolutely would be happy to help if I can in any way. But remember one thing, that whatever we do and whatever we do not do is our choice. What I mean by that is, if I
Hmm.
choose to do something, it's my choice. And just getting caught into
Right.
anxiety loop, if I choose not to do something, that's also my choice. So somewhere we are shaping our future in either way. So might as well take that one step with the help of whatever support we can garner. And maybe it might be not as bad as we think about it in our
I
heads.
think. Yeah. Mm.
Yes, Miracle, you wanted to add something.
I mean, I was laughing because I know I could be an overthinker sometimes. So I was like, okay, and I know that. So I know, okay, my friend will be looking at. She's watching right now, and she's looking at me like, okay, this is miracle. So the question is, and I think oftentimes we have challenges with this, and it's personal. It's a personal question. How do we talk? How would you advise someone to learn to accept realities, not regardless of them not seeing certain results that they honestly desire? How do people live comfortably in the moment? It's okay. You spoke about living in the moment. How do people live comfortably in the moment without having to feel anxious, regardless?
Hmm. I have a deeper question here that one can ask. Where is that feeling of anxiety or feeling anxious coming from? Is it that I want to be perfect in what I do? Is it about what the outcome and what will people say about it? Frankly speaking, people might or might not even notice it, but it's our own shadow self that keeps pointing it out all the time. And that's why the more self aware we become and the more we are aware of even the blind spot about our own selves, we will be able to work through that. That's number one. Okay. Other thing is, I think I had perhaps mentioned in my earlier session as well, that concept of wabi sabi. Somewhere we need to accept that I am imperfect, I am incomplete, but this is not permanent, and I can definitely get back by accepting that this is where I am, and I will be able to take the first step of progress. So it's difficult to accept where we are, but if we accept ourselves that, oh, this is not permanent, I might not be complete, I might not be perfect, but this is not permanent, which means I can make that change. You getting me? So accepting as wabi sabi has two things. One, a reality check to accept this is where I am. But two, that itself act as a motivation for me to act on something and take the next step. So somewhere, just see if that helps as an approach. But again, these are such lovely and deep questions, both of you, Miracle and Timmy, that the space of this 1 hour is not sufficient for me to do justice. And maybe it's like, even the viewers might feel like, I want to know more about this. This seems quite deeper than how it sounds right now. But the fact that they're feeling that in spite of having everything, there is something that feels like a lacking thing or the lost thing, which means that their soul is ready to dive deeper to understand themselves, and which is actually a good thing. So I actually want to kind of leave the negative connotation and give them a hope that in fact it is a way of looking deeper into themselves. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, Timmy, you are the host for today, so please take over.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing light to that, and thank you, Miracle, for chipping that in. I mean, I think I also have the question you. I've been wanting to ask the question you just pointed out. I could not just find a way to express it or give a language, but thank you for doing justice to that, and thank you for answering the question. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Uh, for the fifth and I think the final section, the final question for this section is this. I've been through a lot: failure, disappointment, and loss. People tell me to bounce back, but what if I'm tired of bouncing? This question is funny. He said tired of bouncing. Okay. How do I
Yeah,
build
yeah.
resilience? How do I build resilience without just suppressing how I really feel? And I think most men would relate more with this question because men
No,
have
sorry,
been
sorry to cut you. Sorry
subliminary.
to cut you.
Okay,
Sorry, Timmy. Sorry to cut you.
okay.
So sorry. I think this is going to be very interesting. And this is a very important question. I think a lot of times too, women also do the same thing too as well. I don't know.
Oh,
I mean, so I read in the Bible where I think it was Mary and Jesus. I mean, when Jesus Christ was on the cross, and Mary, the mother to Mary, kept something that Mary did in her heart for a long time, and then it was during the time he saw Jesus Christ on the cross, and then I don't know where I read it. I don't know whether it was like out of the Bible that he was in, but he said that Mary opened up after she saw Jesus Christ on the cross. So I sort of feel like this is a very wide topic that I mean, oftentimes people overlook. We are able to bottle up things. Yeah, thank you. So I had to say that. So Tim, you can go on.
mm, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think he's also trying to balance that the both gender are involved in this. But I mean, the reason why I said that is
Absolutely.
because I've seen a lot of you know a lot of things where they'll say you're a man. There's a concept they say you're a man. Something like like you have an investment and you lost your money. People disappoint you. You got heartbroken by your girlfriend or your fiance or something like that, and people tell you, "Oh, just bounce off it. You're a man. You get another girl. You get another job. So like the question is how do people build resilience? Let me go back to the question. Sorry, just a minute.
Yeah,
Just a
yeah,
minute. I
no,
think I lost
absolutely.
the
I
question.
understand. Again, another very deep
Yeah.
question. And Miracle, next time I think it has to be a longer session because in an hour session dealing with such deeper questions, it's like challenging me to be available to answer these questions. But yeah, I totally understand. And in fact, again, I want to take you back to when I said that sit with yourself, understand how you are feeling, which we do not
Mm,
do and which we are not trained to do. And then there are
mm,
expectations from people, and every time, because we have responsibilities, we have expectations, we try to push ourselves back, show resilience. But then somewhere deep down, the more we are disconnected from our own selves, the harder it's going to be to push ourselves to bounce back every time. Correct? Because somewhere the situation demands, the outside people demand, my job demands, so I'm just pushing myself back. But then comes the point of, no, you know what, I'm totally burnt out and I have no power or energy left to bounce back. And there is always going to be pressure from something or the other in our lives. And that's why it doesn't happen overnight. It has to be a process of generating that internal strength on a daily basis, connecting with yourself, which will help us in these situations. And the answer that I gave Miracle a while ago about Wabi Sabi, somewhere, if I'm feeling right now totally down low with my energy, can I just say it? Can I accept it that I am at this stage? I don't want to be chirping, happy, and joyful 365 days of the year. Even the moon disappears on 12 new moons in a year. How can a human being be full moon throughout the year? No, I will have my phases. I'll feel low. And that's the time when, if I do not have enough support from my close ones, unfortunately, I should be ready to seek support outside. But at the same time, I need to be standing for my own self. And I think for this question, I'm in a very quick one going to give certain tips to connect with ourselves on a daily basis. Okay, if I can. Number one, in the morning when we wake up, the first thing to express gratitude is for being alive. Forget about the things that I have or the things I'm going to achieve and the success, etc. I am alive, which means I have a fresh set of 24 hours to live and to do and make a difference. Second thing,
mm,
the topic of the podcast today is about I have everything. But please remember, if you have everything and yet feel lost or lack, which
mm,
means
mm,
we need to be the giver as well, not just the one who is
mm,
getting everything. So, service
mm,
or being of help to the society or in general to anyone whom we can will also give us that satisfaction of being of some help. Okay.
mm,
Third thing is, before doing anything for anyone, can we just sit there, do certain deep inhales and exhales, and bless our own self? We bless
mm,
our family, we bless everyone whom we meet, but we forget to bless our own
mm,
selves. It's one way of giving that energy to yourself. We wait for others to give us validation and appreciation, but just give yourself a hug, a pat on your own back to say that I'm there
mm,
for you no matter what.
mm,
And you are the most important person in my life. Doesn't
mm,
matter what you do, how much you do, and how much you succeed, but it's an assurance that I'm still there for yourself. Okay, no one reminds us of this. We take care of everything on the physical front, physical health, exercising, this, that, but these are the emotional well-being toolkit which no one reminds us about, and hence it's very important. And this is one way that we will garner that inner strength. So when we really feel that I do not have enough resilience to bounce back, I'll still be able to be there for myself and give that required support. And how does it matter? It's I'm feeling low. It's okay. Let me take a break to understand that I will not reach the point of breakdown or burnout, but take a step back much before and give myself the rest so that I do not reach that stage of feeling that I'm just not able to bounce back. And that has to be a conscious choice. Okay, and still if you feel that you really have no resilience left and unfortunately do not have enough support from your loved ones, do not feel shy to reach out to the right person who is trained to provide you help. May it be a counselor, may it be a coach, so that you do not feel that there is no one for me and I do not know what to do, because life is really important. Had it not been that important, the God, the universe wouldn't have given birth to 8 plus billion people across the globe. So each life is important, and feeling low and feeling lost, and to the extent that one feels like ending the life abruptly, is definitely not something that one should reach to. Okay, so that's what I have to share for the last question that you had.
thank you so much. That's a very good answer to the question. And I think I also want to say something about that because you mentioned about building internal strength, and I've noticed that kind of pattern with people too, where they think they are building internal strength, but they are just ignoring their emotions. They have
Mm,
a pile up of emotions that is unexpressed. They don't cry. They don't, they think it is weakness to cry. They think it is
mm,
weakness to express themselves. So they just having it's like um putting of water in a plastic bag, and then the plastic bag is expanding, and you keep filling it, and it's expanding. You keep filling it, it's expanding, and it got to a point whereby the bag cannot hold up the water again. Then it just bursts. So I think a lot of people are doing that kind of a thing to themselves. They think they are building strength, but in reality, what they are doing is that they are suppressing their emotions, and they could not allow their emotions to find expression, and they get to the point whereby they just find out that they are not stable. They get to the point whereby they just feel like they just want to die, commit suicide. They start thinking death is a gain for them because they have not expressed their emotion. That's a very, very deep aspect of it, and a very good answer you've given. But I think the section we've had so far, this is 1 hour already. Though for me, I think it doesn't do justice to all that we would love to debunk, and would want to beg you, Manasi, would want to plead on you to also find a time to have another section with you. I know this would have been the third time we are having you, but at least would like to have you for part two, because there are a lot of things we are just touching on the surface level. We would like to, go deeper into some of the answers you're giving and get it to the level whereby there are no more questions to ask. So I think we'll be having you again if you would. I think you would want to also come back to share your thoughts with our people. So, but this is the end of the section. But before we go, I just want us to ask if you have, um, in regards to all we've discussed about today, if you'd have one last advice that you would want to give to the audience that is listening to you now. Just one last
Sure,
advice. And by the way, I
sure.
think Manasi details you will be displayed on YouTube for our viewers and
Yeah.
all the viewing
Thank you.
platforms, so that people can always reach out to you if they have questions. You can book a section with her, and then
Absolutely.
she could
Absolutely. Or if,
provide
if there is
answers
any
to many
feedback or
questions.
questions that come to you both, you can collate them and share it with me as well. I would love to dive deeper with these on another occasion. I would love to do that definitely. I'll just end this with a quote from Bruce Lipton, which says, the moment you change your perception is the moment you rewire the chemistry of your body. So somewhere,
Hmm.
I hope by end of this discussion, somewhere we have given a little different perspective to people to have a relook at their life and feel that joy, abundance, the flow, and rather than feeling that, oh, I have a FOMO, I have a fear of missing out something, I'm ready to disconnect and have a joy of missing out on something because I want to connect with my own self. So I hope people find that out of this session and enjoy their life.
Yeah, thank you so much for that powerful last word. Um, I cannot wait to have you again. I personally cannot wait because I've learned a lot. I have a notes here with me. I'm writing. I have my pen. I'm writing a lot. So I will still go back to the section to watch through it and listen again,
Absolutely.
because I probably might not get everything as I'm the host of the event. So I'll go back to it and reiterate on all of the things you've taught. And yeah, I believe it's going to really helped me a lot. And thank you for the exercise you made. You introduced to us. I think I would also practice that. The breathing in, breathing out with the mouth. So it's a really good thing. It makes someone's heart relax. So thank you for this section. We're grateful. And let me hand over to Miracle. I think he wants to say something.
Okay, thank you so much, Timmy. Thank you so much. And I want to say an official thank you to Mrs. Manase. I want to say thank you for who you are. Thank you very much for the passion you have to help other people have clarity over their lives. Thank you for the exercises. Thank you very much for, I mean, it's been 2 years now since we met, and then you've been able to achieve a lot within the short period of time. And it's inspiring that those who have been stayed consistent with us would see that there's been some really, really huge difference. So I want to say thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me here. It was lovely interacting with both of you. Thank you.
Same here. Thank you. Okay, so
Thank you.
I think we've come to the end of the session, and then
Okay.
expect the next session as well too. Timmy, yeah.
Yeah, all right. Thank you to everyone that have taken their time to have watched this section with Manasi. We promise to come back with a more powerful, topic to discuss with Manasi. And thank you and have a great day. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, bye.